All right, I am now joined this morning by Dr. Manuel Reyes, who is the director of UT Tyler's Hibbs Institute and their senior research analyst, to discuss more on the egg prices that are currently skyrocketing across the United States and specifically here in East Texas, what you need to know over the months ahead. Dr. Reyes, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
We appreciate it. When it comes with egg prices, what are your opinions on what we've seen over the months before right now as, again, prices continue to go up?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have this price surge in eggs that has been impactful to the entire nation due to the avian flu. And it's pushing prices considerably higher than what it was a few months ago. It's nearly $5 per dozen. The average at the national level is $4.95, while on the southern portion, particularly Texas, is calculated to be $4.79.
And when it comes with the overall impact of this right here in East Texas, you said families that might have more children are going to be impacted by this, especially since they have to buy more eggs to account for those children, especially for breakfast and stuff like that.
Well, yes, of course that we all suffer with inflation and high prices, particularly in food. Particularly in eggs, we see that from our budget, from family budget, is between 1% and 0.5% for average income families. Now, proportionally speaking, low income families are going to be more impacted. It's going to be about 1.5% of their budget. And not only that, but also eggs are relatively low price compared to other sources of animal protein. So since it's more affordable than chicken, pork, or beef, low-income families consume more eggs as a source of protein. Now, if you increase the price of eggs, they are getting out of options for animal protein. They need to jump into another source of protein, like like plant-based protein, legumes, tofu, or other plant-based, which is very limited for them. So those that are going to be struggling the most are going to be low-income families.
And of course, you talked about it a little bit. Avian flu is primarily being blamed for this right now. Do you think that's the only thing that's causing these egg prices to rise, or is there other factors as well?
Well, typically it's supply and demand. Yeah. So for this particular surge, yes, the avian flu is the one factor that is driving prices up substantially. But we have other factors that could impact prices. Essentially, labor costs. Over the past several months, we have experienced a labor shortage, particularly in the agricultural sector, that is pushing prices up, and we also have other the feed cost, poultry feed cost. It takes about 60 to 70% of the cost for producing eggs. How do you feed them? So it's another important source of another factor that is going to influence egg prices. But for now, the one thing that is going to cause this price surge is the avian flu.
On that note, last week or a couple of weeks ago, the Department of Agriculture also released a report predicting egg prices will rise by about 40% throughout 2025. On that number, what are you expecting, or is it just too early to tell what can happen over the months ahead?
I think it's too early. I'm hoping that it will be less than that and only temporary. Why? I want to think that this is going to be temporary, just like it was 2 years ago. We experienced a similar situation in 2023. Between January and May of 2023, we experienced also another outbreak of avian flu, which increased prices substantially from slightly below $2 per dozen to slightly below $5 per dozen. So that was a substantial increase. However, once it was controlled, prices went down relatively fast. Like in 3 months, it was 50% of the cost by May 2023. And by October 2023, it was back below $2 per dozen. So it was bad, but it was only for like 3 months. At this point, we don't know what is going to happen, but I'm hoping that it won't impact the family's budget so much.
But compared to 2023, like you just talked about, have prices this time here in 2024 and 2025, have they been rising at a more steadily pace compared to that time back in 2023? You said it's similar, but
It's similar.
How similar is it?
Well, from only slightly below $2 to slightly below $5 in both cases. So I'm hoping that if we can control the supply for eggs for now, we can manage this soon enough. And we all are already working on this.
When it comes with popular breakfast places, I'm sure you've heard about it with these egg prices. Waffle House and Denny's, which we of course both have here in East Texas, particularly in Longview. I think there's also a Denny's in the city of Tyler. Mm-hmm. They have added a egg surcharge to their egg dishes, both saying it's only temporary. With that, do you expect other restaurants to possibly follow with that if prices continue to go up and we don't control avian flu like we hope to? Mm-hmm. And maybe even local places too, because they're not chains. Mm-hmm. They have to, try to survive the best they can.
I don't know about that, and I'll tell you why. The thing is, when you increase prices as a restaurant, they hardly go back. So I don't know if this is going to be like really temporary. Some places say it's because they have to update the menus. Some others say that you need to compensate even after the prices go down. They need to compensate for previous losses. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they really will go back down on one hand. On the other hand, I don't know if that's going to be good for restaurant sales. Why? After the pandemic, consumers were severely hit. We experienced inflation, like extreme inflation that we did not experience in 40 years. Now that we are trying to accommodate to a lower inflation, we're back into like between 2 and 3% increase in the consumer price index. I don't know. If it's going to be good for sales, because consumers are going to switch to other plate dishes.
Yeah.
And if you think about margins, egg plates are better for profits because a plate with eggs and ham and bacon is relatively low cost.
I was about to say relatively cheap
compared to meat or chicken or pork. So your margins are larger than for other alternatives. Mm-hmm. So now, yes, the margins are going to be lower, but it's still better than going to other alternatives. So now, if you push consumers and you have those plates in a similar price, I think, because I would do it, I will go to an alternative that is going to be beef. It's going to be the same price. I'll go for a beef fajita instead. So then it's going to impact restaurants because overall profits are going to be lower and most likely sales. But I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I just think that it's not going to be good for sales.
So you don't think local, because national places like Denny's, like Waffle House, they have a bunch of locations across mm-hmm. the United mm-hmm. States. But local places, what if there's only one place and they have to do their thing? They have to make that decision mm-hmm. to try to make up for those costs with those egg prices coming in. Do you think they should just stay away from that and stick to their guns, if you will?
I think so. I think it's not going to be good for sales. But they need to manage their costs, and they understand better than I how to deal with this. I'm hoping that it's only temporary, and you can adjust temporary. But if it's for a longer period, that's going to be
Right.
tough. But it's also tough for consumers. So it's lose-lose situation.
Certainly what we're experiencing right now, it seems like with egg prices. Is there anything the Trump administration directly can do when it comes with egg prices? Maybe similarly, a lot of people, talk about gas prices. If gas prices are high, what can the president do to bring gas prices down? And some people talk about that. Well, the president doesn't control gas prices and stuff like. Well, people say that, and I'm not saying the president does or he doesn't, but. When it comes with food prices, particularly egg prices that we're talking about right now, is there anything the Trump administration can do, particularly the USDA, that they can do right now?
There is, and they are doing already.
What are they doing, by the way?
Well, they investing $1 billion trying to control the situation, but $500 million is already being put into bio measures to control the situation.
The avian flu, bird flu, yes.
400 million are also already allocated to help farmers, to relieve farmers from this situation. And in top of that, we are also working on vaccines, on reduced regulations, and they are also looking to import eggs from other countries. I think particularly from Turkey, they are in plans to import eggs. Of course, this is a lose-lose situation. Some of the local farmers are not going to be happy, but importing a lot of eggs to compensate the demand is going to make consumers a little bit better off.
I know we did report on that last week with what the USDA did announce with their plans to control the avian flu, bird flu. What's the main thing that East Texans should know right now about egg prices, and particularly what you're expecting over the months ahead here in 2025?
Well, there's a lot of volatility right now in terms of a lot of food and a lot of products. And if we, to give an example, if we keep doing the tariffs, and that's another topic that we need to talk about later, transportation costs are going to be up. So in terms of East Texas, we are suffering a lot of volatility, and we need to find a way to manage all of this surge in prices of different products, and hopefully we can keep controlling inflation. The Federal Reserve Bank was doing a great job in that. Hopefully we can reach back to their goal, which is between 2 and 3%. Right now there's a lot of instability.
One of my final questions, you talked about it earlier in the interview about egg prices similar to a situation that happened with egg prices in 2023 with the avian flu. Is there another specific event you can recall, not just with egg prices, but maybe with beef prices, poultry prices, where this happened and we eventually recovered? Is there anything that happened in the last decade or two that's maybe comparable to something like this?
We got the pandemic, but we're hoping that we're not going to be back to that. In terms of the avian flu, there's no report yet on the transmission of the virus from person to person. So hopefully we don't go to that situation again.
All right, Dr. Reyes, thanks for coming in and talk with us about
Thank you so much.
egg prices. Hopefully we can discuss next week, about the potential impact on tariffs with the United States, with China, Mexico, and Canada. If you can come on next week.
That's going to be interesting. Thank you
certainly
so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.